Today, as I said, we will be starting the discussion on another compound data type, that is tuple. But before that, just an overview of the other two compound data types, that is lists and sets, that we have discussed in the last couple of classes. First, list. So, as we discussed, list is an unordered collection of items where duplicate items are allowed. That is, the same item can be present in the list more than once. To declare a list, we need to provide the individual items in the list in a comma separated way, and we should be providing them inside a square bracket or third bracket. Lists are mutable, that is, the values in a list can be changed, can be updated, can be removed, new items can be added, and so on. Also, list can store any type of element, and list can store any number of element. Practically, although based on your based on your memory constraint in your machine, it can actually store infinite number of elements as item in a list. Theoretically, it is possible to actually store infinite number of items, and list can store any type of element as well. That is, here in this example, as you can see, there are string, integer, float as well in the same list. Also, as we have discussed, there can be one list inside a list as well. In comparison, set is again another compound data type which is basically an unordered collection of items where duplicate elements are not allowed. That is, if you insert the same element more than once, they will be deduplicated. That is, there will be only one presence of the item more than once. So sets are written as a list of comma separated values, and they are put inside a curly bracket. Another contrasting thing in comparison to list is sets are mutable. That is, after declaring a set, the values can be actually can also be changed. It's similar to list as well. Sorry for the confusion. Sets are also mutable. That is, values can be changed, updated, or removed. And here is one contrasting feature of set as compared to list. That is, set can only store immutable items, whereas list can actually store any type of elements, including mutable and immutable. But for list, it cannot actually store or have list or set as item, because list, set, and dictionary are all mutable data types, and set can only store immutable items. For example, here it is this should be giving us a type error because we are providing a list inside a set which is not allowed. Now come to the advantage of using set over list is, as I discussed, if you want to perform a search in a list, it will be a linear search. Whereas if you want to perform a search in a set, it will be a hash lookup. That is, linear search. So if there are, say, n element in the list, it would take order of n time to check for the existence of an element. Whereas for hash lookup, it can actually happen in order of one time. That is, it is very fast. To give you just, I guess it's not clear what is order of n or order of 1. Just to give you a brief, it is very fast in comparison to linear search or the search in list if we are performing a search operation in a list as well as in a set. Now, the third compound data type we will be discussing today is tuple. So, tuples are unordered collection of elements which are unordered and unchangeable, that is immutable data type in Python. In comparison to set, Tuples allow duplicate members. That is similar to lists. If there are multiple elements, if the same element are present multiple times in the tuple, it is actually not stored, and that is can actually be stored in a tuple. Again, it can have any number of elements of different types, and in contrast to list, tuples are also sequence like list. That is, we can use the index value to access the individual items inside the list, inside the tuple as well, and they are used to represent fixed collection of items. Now, what they are actually, I mean, what this is actually specifying, I will be coming to that with a simple example. As an example, this is a tuple. So a tuple is declared by the first bracket or round brace. Here, what I am doing is I am providing 3 items as the element in this tuple. So to create a tuple, there are multiple ways. The easiest way is using the round brace or the first bracket. So this is an empty tuple. That is, if you provide one variable name equals to just an empty first bracket starting and first bracket ending, this will specify an empty tuple similar to empty list, right? In which case we have provided an empty third bracket. This is again another tuple where we are specifying 2 elements 3 and 5, and we can of course, and they will be printed in this manner as well. We will be looking to that in a short while. Here is another example of a tuple where there are elements of multiple types. That is, this is a string type, this is an integer type, this is a floating type, and this is again a string type. Also, similar to list, we can have a nested tuple as well. Nested tuple means a tuple containing a set of tuples. In this case, what I am doing is I am basically storing the coordinates of a triangle. So it is 1, 2. So abscissa and ordinate, abscissa and ordinate, abscissa and ordinate. These are the coordinate of the 3 points or the 3 points of a triangle. Now let's look at the corresponding codes. So here this is actually, as I have said, this is an empty tuple. And if I execute, if I print this, it will be printing in the same way. Let's just execute it and it will be clear. So as you can see, this is being printed by this. This is being printed by the second print statement and so on. Now to check again whether a variable is of type tuple or not, we can simply use the type function. So if I provide the coordinate here, this variable name, as you can see, it is providing me with the class tuple. That is, this coordinate is an object of this tuple class. Similarly, this player is an object of this tuple class, similar to this triangle. To create a tuple, as we have discussed, we can simply use this round bracket. We can also exclude the bracket as well. This is known as tuple packing. Here what I am doing is I have provided the name of the variable equals to multiple elements which are comma separated. This is actually stating that I want to pack these 3 elements in a tuple. This is called tuple packing. Similarly, we can unpack them. As there are 3 elements in this tuple, we can simply have 3 different name of the variables or 3 different variables in the left hand side of an assignment statement. This is an assignment statement. So there are 3 variables in the left hand side equals to the name of the tuple, which is basically packed with 3 elements. Now let's just look at the corresponding example. So I have written the same thing here. So as you can see, so let's just have this in a separate cell so that it's better understandable. As you can see, it is showing me this. Now, if I print the type of student 1, as you can see, it is tuple, right? Now, if I mean, how to unpack this? So as we have inserted 3 elements here, this tuple is containing 3 elements. So while unpacking, we should be providing the same number of variables in the left hand side as the number of elements there in the right hand side, or the same exactly the same as the number of elements in this tuple, right? If I execute this, as you can see, name is Amit, age is 25, and role is 21RS049. Now note that it is actually stored in the same way as I am inserting them. This is a feature in tuple which is similar to the feature in list. As we have seen that if we insert multiple elements in the list one after the other, they will be actually present in the list one after the other. It will be in the 0th location, this will be in the 1th location, and so on. And while unpacking, that same ordering will also be followed. Now, let's try another thing. Let's copy the same code here and let's try an erroneous unpacking. We know that there are 3 elements in this tuple. Now, what if I provide 2 variables in the left hand side? In that case, role is not defined. If I execute this, you can see there is an error. It is saying too many values to unpack. So as there are 3 elements there, and as we are providing two variables in the left hand side, it is saying that too many values to unpack, because there are 3 elements in the right hand side, but I am assigning or I am giving the name of 2 variables. Another erroneous unpacking would be if I provide another name of the variable in the, say, ABC in the left hand side. Now if I execute, you will be seeing the same error, value error, but the statement is different. Not enough values to unpack. Here it is saying that expected 4 got 3. Why this is? As we have discussed in the beginning of this course, that all the statements are executed line after one after the other, and the statements are executed from the left hand side to the right. So this statement will be executed first this, then this, then this, then this, then this. On encountering this equals to, it will be understanding that I want to perform an assignment operation, and as there are this multiple number of commas there, the Python interpreter will be understanding that I want to perform an unpacking. Now as there are 4 variable names in the left hand side, it is expecting 4, but in the right hand side there are 3. That's why this message is being printed. Similarly, here in the earlier example, there are 2 elements in here, two variable names here in the left hand side. That is, it is expected 2 or expecting 2, but there are basically 3 elements in the right hand side. So this is an unpacking error that you might be encountering if you are not providing the same number of variables in the left hand side as the number of items there in the tuple. Similarly, some other example like coordinate 3, 5, and here unpacking we can simply use this abscissa and ordinate equals to coordinate. In this case, 3 will be in the abscissa, 5 will be in the ordinate. Again, I would like to highlight another thing is highlight the same thing that I have already discussed. There is this one-to-one correspondence or the sequence in which they are being inserted. This is in the 0th, so this is in the 0th. This is the first, this is the first, this is the second, this is the second. Similarly, another example, marks 3 elements and then 3 variable name equals to marks. This will be another. Now, how to create a tuple with one item. Let's try this. Student equals to Hrithik. Now, first let's try that student equals to say Hrithik, Ishita. Okay. In this case, it is perfectly fine. It is actually a tuple, right? If I just print the tuple, that is student 1, you can see it is actually being printed as Hrithik, Ishita, which is basically a tuple. But what if, so you can understand that I can provide multiple elements here, right? But what if I want to initialize a tuple with a single item? If I do this, it will be providing us with an unexpected result. So it will be considering this as a string rather than considering it as a tuple. So as we are providing this Hrithik, the string, inside a first bracket, we expect this to be treated as a tuple element, but in practice, it will be treated as a string. So if I execute this, as you can see, the type of student has become string. Now then, how to actually declare a tuple with a single element? The solution is a little bit of an unexpected one. We need to provide a trailing comma to indicate that it is a tuple. For example, here if we want to declare this, if we want to have the same element Hrithik, I just need to provide a comma, an empty comma here. Now if I execute this, as you can see, this is a tuple. Similarly, I can of course use the I mean exclude this bracket as well. This is also a tuple. But note that this is a string. This is a string. But if I put a comma here, this is a tuple. Okay. Now another way of creating a tuple is using a function that is called constructor or the tuple function. So here this tuple is a built-in function in Python, using which we can actually initialize a tuple. So note that we need to provide a set of elements inside this I mean as the parameter of this tuple, but note that this tuple is taking only one parameter as input. Let's look at this. So if I do this, as you can see, this has become a tuple. What if I want to, or I write this? Here what I am doing is I am providing multiple parameters in tuple, in this tuple function. Earlier I was providing only a single parameter. Here I am providing 3 parameters. If I do this, it will be an error because tuple takes at most 1 argument, but here I have given 3. Now, as we can see that the argument that I am providing here, or the parameter I am providing here in the tuple, in this tuple function, is a tuple itself, right? As we have said, any item separated by any set of items separated by comma and enclosed by this first bracket is basically a tuple. Now, what if I provide a list? Let's try that as well. Instead of providing this as a tuple, I am providing this as a list. This is also a valid statement. So this tuple function can take any sequence data such as this list. Earlier we have used the tuple itself as well, and it will be converted, or it will be the items in this sequence data type will be converted as the items in this tuple. Now another example, let's say vowels equals to tuple, sorry, let's look at this example, say A, E, I, O, U. And now if I print vowels, let's see what happens. Note that here this was the sequence which is list, here this was the sequence which is a set. Here in this example the sequence is a string. As I have said, string is also a sequence data type. So that's why the individual characters are being considered as the individual items in this tuple. These are the different ways of creating a tuple. Okay. Now, how to access the items in a tuple? So the accessing of items in a tuple is exactly the same as accessing items in a list. As I said, similar to list, tuples are also indexable or can be, index values can be used to access the individual items in a tuple. Here, this is a tuple marks containing. We can simply use the corresponding index value, that is 0 containing 82, 1 containing 76 and so on, to access the individual items. Similar to accessing list, we can also use the negative indexing as well, that is -4 the last element, sorry, -1 is the last element, and -5 or minus number of elements in the, or in general if there are n elements, then -n will be basically the first element using the negative indexing. Also the slicing operator that we have used while accessing strings as well as list can also be applied here to access the items in tuples as well. Similar to Python lists, Python tuples are, there are 5 elements, they will be stored in the 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4th location, and there will be no, so marks is containing 5 elements, so that's why marks in third bracket 5 is undefined, similar to lists. And a tuple with n elements will be having the corresponding index value as 0 to n minus 1. Now let's just try to do that as well. So here in this example, vowels is containing this. If I want to get the, say the third element, so vowels, so 4 will be, sorry, the third element is basically this. This will be providing us with the I. Similarly, if I want to access using the minus, the negative indexing, this will be basically providing us with the output A, sorry, E. So basically -1, -2, -3, -4. All right. Now the next operation I will try to do that I will try to do is basically changing tuple values. Let's say we have declared one tuple position of a location. Specifically, this is the location of our institute, IISER Kolkata. Now, if I want to change this longitude, can I apply this? Let's try this. I have written the same thing. So if I print position is this. Also, if I want to make it a little bit more formal, so latitude is position 0 and longitude or LNG is basically position 1, right? Now, what if I want to do this? I want to change this longitude from this to this. Can I do this? The answer is no, because tuple object does not support item assignment. So we will be encountering a type error. The reason is tuples are immutable. That is, we cannot change its value. Right? Once we declare a tuple, we cannot change the individual item or the value stored in these tuples. Okay. Actually, this makes tuple a very useful thing. We'll be discussing with an example later on. Now, then if, in contrast to this, if we have an element which is of a mutable data type, we can change that. For example, if we declare a tuple like this, where the individual items are string, string, and a list, as list is basically a mutable data type, we can change it. Here I am storing the marks of Srijoya together with her name as well as her roll number. The marks are say mathematics, physics, chemistry. So if I want to update the marks of say physics from say 76 to 84, I can simply write student 1, that is the name of the tuple, then third bracket 2, which will be basically this, and then third bracket 1, which is basically this 76, and I can use this 84, basically this assignment operator, to assign a new value into it. Let's just try this. Here student 1 is basically this. Now, what if I want to only print the marks? I can simply use the indexing value. Here I know the indexing value is 2, 0, 1, 2. So what I need to do is student 1, that is the name of the tuple, then in third bracket 2. This will be providing us with the marks. Similarly, if I want to write the or print the roll number, I can simply write student 1 in third bracket 1. This will be providing us with the roll. Now, what if I want to update the 76? I can simply write this. As we have seen, student 1, 2 is basically this list. And in this list, I want to update this value. Now, if I do this, as you can see, it has become, earlier it was Srijoya, roll number, and this set of marks, 82, 76, 79. After executing this statement, it has become 82. The earlier 76 has been updated with 84 and so on. So the bottom line is, if an individual item in a tuple is of type mutable, then we can actually update it. But here, as tuples are immutable, we cannot change the individual values unless they are mutable. And also, we can reassign or assign a new tuple with a different value as well. Now, earlier I was storing the marks of Srijoya. Let's try to store the marks of Soumodip in the same variable. So this will be okay. Now, note that, let's see one thing. So here, this was the first statement where it was containing Srijoya's number and name and roll number. In that case, if I performed the ID operation, it was this. So it is ending with 8848. Let's just remember it. Now, after executing this, if I perform the same ID operation, let's see. As you can see, it is providing me with the different one. That is, this student 1 is basically a different student 1 than this one. What I am doing is, I am basically overwriting, or basically this student 1, this variable name has been referencing to an object in this location. Roughly, we can say that. Earlier, student 1 was referencing to another object in this location. As I am reassigning it, it is showing me this. Now I would like you to ask, I mean, ask a basic question here. What if I again execute this? Will I be getting the same ID? I'll request you to try that at your end. It's a simple task. Just first I have done this, then I am getting this ID, then I'm doing this, then I'm getting this ID. Then if I re-execute this, that is, if I again use student 1 to store the information regarding Srijoya, will I be getting the same ID? Now, similar to list, tuple can also be concatenated with another tuple using the plus operator, and similar to the multiplication operator or the star operator, we can also repeat the items in a tuple multiple times. But note that this will not be actually changing the actual tuple, it will be creating a new tuple. So let's say if I just look at this, so if say we have a tuple say t equal 1, 2, 3, and if I have another tuple say t2 equals to say 4, 5, 6, and if I print, so basically if I do this concatenation, so basically t1 plus t2 will be returning, sorry, it will be providing us with this output, right? Also, if I want to store them in a say in a new tuple say t3, t1 plus t2, and if I print t3, as you can see this, and also if I print the type of t3, it will be tuple. But note that if I now print t1 or t2, they are the same. They are remaining the same. They are not getting changed. Similar to if I apply this repeat operator here, that is this multiplication here, the invoking tuple will be remaining the same. A new tuple will be created. If you want to store them, you can assign this, you can use this assignment operator, new tuple. Now, deleting items from a tuple, can we do that? So let's say we have a tuple named fruits containing apple, banana, and cherry. 3 strings. Now, as I hope you can guess that as tuples are immutable, we cannot actually remove items from a tuple, right? So if I did this, so if I write the same thing, say, so just to save some time, I'm copying the code again. As we have discussed that a way of deleting items from a list is by using the del operation. So if I want to delete say cherry, can we do this? The answer is no. We cannot do this because tuples are immutable. But of course, we can altogether delete the existence of fruits as well. Or we can just simply delete this fruits. In that case, after that there is no existence of fruits. Is different from deleting a variable entirely is different from deleting the individual items stored in that. Here in this case, this is fruits is basically a sequence data type, and as sequence data type there are multiple elements here, as you can see. Now, if I want to delete this fruits or this sequence data type altogether, we can simply use that. this del operation like this, but we cannot delete the individual items in this sequence data type. Why? Because this sequence data type is an immutable one. So deletion of an item from a tuple is not allowed. Now traversing all the items in a tuple, we can simply use the for loop along with the membership operator, that is in. This is similar to the way we can traverse all the items in a list. And another way, of course, is by using the while loop with the indexing value. This is exactly similar to the way we have actually traversed a list. So if fruits is a list or fruits is a tuple, I mean, in either cases, both these statements will be traversing all the items in that sequence data type. Okay. Now, if I want to search or count the number of occurrence of certain elements in a tuple, how can we do that? So to search, we can of course use this membership operator, and to count the number of occurrence, we can similar to the list, we can also use this count function. Now let's try that. Let's say we have, say, this fruits, this tuple. Now if I print fruits, sorry, fruit is basically printing this. Now if I want to print the number of or get the number of occurrence of, say, p, I can simply write invoking list tuple name dot count in quotes, say p, small p, as small p and capital P will be treated differently. If I give something, say, a, it will be providing 1. Now if I provide, say, capital A, it will be providing 0, right? Now why? Because capital A is different from small a, right? So that's why, because basically there is no existence of capital A in this tuple. Now similarly, I mean, if I want to get the presence or absence, or if we want to search, so let's say we have another item that I want to search in this tuple, say S containing, say, something like, say, B, we can simply write print, say, S in fruit. This will be false because S or B is not in this tuple. That's why it is returning false. So using this, we can simply check, or we simply check the existence of an item in a tuple. And we can also retrieve at which position one item is located. For example, here fruit.index, this is again another function which is similar to the list function. If I want to get the location of E, will be providing 4. Now if I want to get the location, if I just invoke the location of, say, L, or say, let's say, P, because there are two P's, one is in the 1th location and another is in the 2nd location. Similar to list, it is returning me with the first occurrence of this P from the left hand side. Okay. And what if I provide a non-existing element here, similar to list, it will also be providing me with an error. Now the other tuple functions similar to lists are len, returns the length of the tuple, Max returns the item, the highest element. In case it can be actually quantified. It will be providing the or returning the highest element. Min will be returning the lowest element. Sum will be returning the arithmetic sum of all the items in case they are actually numerical values stored in the invoking tuple. Any will be returning true if any item is true. All will be returning true if all the items are true. These two are also, or some of these functions are also applicable in sets as well. And similar to list, sorted can also be applied, which will be returning a sorted version of the tuple, right? And the way we can invoke them, we can call them, is similar to the way we have called them in list or sets. There are certain methods as well. Now, these are functions which are by default available or available by Python, but there are certain methods. I mean, there could be a confusion between what is a method and what is a function, because I have used them interchangeably. Methods are those functions which are defined in the tuple. In this case, index and count are two methods which are defined as part of tuple class. So similar to the list method or the index method in list, this index method in tuple is the same, similar to the count. That is, index takes one argument, returns the index of the first occurrence. For count, it takes one argument, that is the item that you want to search, and returns the number of items, number of times the item appears in the invoking tuple. This is exactly the same as we have used in list. Now the obvious question, using a tuple. The answer is we should be using tuple when we want to store an ordered set of elements such that they will not be changing over time, or they will be remaining the same throughout the execution of the code. For example, if I want to store the location of a position, so I know that the location of the position, the latitude longitude will never be changing of a position of a place, right? In those cases, we should be using a tuple. The beauty of tuple is it will be supporting, or it will be restricting the change of the individual elements that are stored in this tuple. That is, it will ensure that the elements that are stored in the tuple will remain the same throughout. Similarly, if you say want to store the name and date of birth of a person, so as we know, date of birth, I hope, will not be changing. I mean, in case it's not for a weird reason or some bizarre reason, a date of birth of a person will not be changing. So we can store the name and the date of birth in a tuple. So in sum, to group together pair of values like this, there can be cases that if you want to store, say, 5 or 6 elements together, you should be using tuple, and to store related information that belongs together like this, latitude, longitude. For those cases, we should be using tuple. Now, advantage over list of tuple is we should be using tuple for heterogeneous data type. That is, in case there are different types of data that we want to store in a sequence data type, then we should not be using list, we should be using tuple. But in case they are homogeneous, that are all the items of are having the same type, and another advantage of using tuple over list is iteration through all the items in a tuple is faster than iterating all the items in a list. And tuples that contain immutable elements can be used as a key for a dictionary. So for the time being, we haven't discussed about dictionary, But this is another advantage of tuple over list, in which case this is not, I mean, in case of a list, this immutable elements cannot be actually used as a key for a dictionary. This will be discussed later on during the discussion, together with the discussion on dictionary. So the bottom line is, if you have a data that will not change, implement it not as a list but as a tuple. Now, to compare the three sequence data type or compound data type that we have discussed so far, lists, sets, and tuples. All lists and sets are mutable, tuples are immutable. Lists and tuples allow duplicate elements to be present in the corresponding compound data type, but sets does not allow that. Basically, if there are same, I mean, if there are multiple occurrence of the same element, they will be deduplicated. That is, only one occurrence will be stored. Similarly, lists and tuples are ordered, but sets are not ordered. In list, items as it is mutable, but for sets and tuples, items cannot be replaced. For lists and sets, item can be removed, but for tuple, item cannot be removed as well. Now, to compare in which case we should be using which data type. So, given a collection of data, we should be using set when the data we want is having some ordering, is not having any ordering. In that case, we should be using set. Another advantage of using set is, in case we only want to perform a lookup operation, that is, we only want to check the existence of an item in the collection, then we should be using set. For example, if we want to say we are generating the CoWIN app. So in the CoWIN app, as you have seen, I guess, that given the Aadhaar number, it is basically first checking whether it is already present in the database or not while we are registering into it. So in order to just check whether it is present or absent, we should be using a set. Now we should be using a list when the ordering of the individual items in this collection of data is important, and the individual items can actually change over time. In those cases, we should be storing the items in a list. And finally, we should be using tuple when, similar to list, when the ordering is important, but the individual items or the order in which they are occurring will not be changing over time. So in these cases, we should be using tuple. So that's it for tuple. I hope you have understood when to use list, when to use set, and when to use tuple. Thank you. Any question?